Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 515. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Daddy's here.
You're just going to spring that glass of wine on me last second like this?
I forgot it was here, to be honest with you. Beep.
It's a Monday night. What are we doing?
Here's what happens. When you have a wife that likes wine, sometimes she opens a bottle, forgets that it was opened, doesn't finish the bottle, has to plug it with that little thing on top. And then it sits in the wine fridge for a few days.
It's called a cork, no?
No, it's like an actual thing. It's like a little clamp thing that like really seals it up. And then it sits in the wine fridge for a few days. And then she's like, shoot, I forgot to open this. This is kind of a nice bottle of wine. I don't want to waste it. Will you help me drink it? Bada boom, bada bing. Here we are. I'm a wine connoisseur. I'm just kidding. I have zero knowledge about wine. They all taste the same. I know that it's
a 10 bottle of wine is the same to you as a $120 bottle.
1,000%. And it's like when Michael sips it and he's like, this is a white? Like, yeah. Same thing, bro. There's either white and red. That's it. So apparently this is nice. And I have to drink it in time.
I like how you simplify things like that, because I want to simplify something related to baseball. For me, it's spring training baseball and then everything else. My question related to that, however, and I'll put it here on the screen so the folks can answer as they join us. Do you watch spring training games? We have this conversation just about every time this time of the year rolls around. But it's sort of a two-pronged question. I'll ask you, Nate. Do you watch spring training games?
Not yet. I will when we start getting
the regulars in there.
The regulars in there for longer than one or two ABs. When we start getting like 6-7 innings and you get pitchers that are going 60, 70 pitches, I'm in.
I'm with you.
And
I'm with you on that.
I'll catch highlights right now of like guys that like, oh, he's an up and comer. I kind of want to see what he looks like. You know what I mean? But I'm not. I'll throw it on in the background while I'm doing other stuff. Is that the right answer? I feel like that's the right answer.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is sort of the bone that I have to pick today with baseball. And this is not the first time we've had this conversation. This is not the first time I've made this point. But how in the year 2025 do we not have visual access to every spring training game that takes place? Like, I don't care. And this goes... You're
talking about those audio-only games?
Not even... yeah, I mean, I guess if that's the alternate, but I don't even bother checking to see if the games that don't have video, if they even have audio. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. But I'm just saying...
Not listening to a spring training game.
No, it's going to be enough to get me to sit down and actually watch a game. If you don't have at least the video, I don't know what we're doing. And this goes beyond all... Like, this goes beyond Major League Baseball for me. This is college. I'll even go as far as saying high school. And if your first response to that is, well, not everybody has the same resources, trust me, all you need is just a phone. Even if you just set up a phone, that's fine. And I'm not going to say that's the bare minimum for Major League Baseball. I would hope that they'd have at least somewhat of a professional camera to put there. But I don't even need the commentary. And frankly, I'm not going to sit there and watch every spring training game. So me sitting here complaining about this sort of doesn't really make sense, because I'm not like a diehard spring training watch kind of guy. But for the people that are, how do we not have access? Like, how are we not getting to watch every game? How difficult is it to just get a stream up?
I don't know. I feel like I see more clips of side field live ABs than I do of non-televised spring training games. And if you do get a clip of a non-televised spring training game, it's typically from the moon. and you can't see anything.
Yep.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
just hear
that's-
some idiot yelling in the third row.
No, that's what I'm saying. And look, this is not a hill that I'm gonna like die on. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna quit watching baseball.
I don't
unless
care
every
enough
spring
about
training.
spring training.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's more of just because I do know that there are those people that exist that are like, I need to catch every game. I need to get up to
That's
speed.
cool.
I need to get caught up to speed on our prospects, who's going to be in the system next season, or who's going to be playing every day next year and beyond. I get that. That's not me, but just sort of, I'm sort of taking a stance. I'm planting my flag on behalf of those who feel that way.
Fair enough.
I'm looking past my own interest here. That's all I'm saying.
I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you for that. I will say I am taking in my first, potentially only, spring training game on Friday.
We talked about this. Where did you say you're going?
Mama Reyes is coming in town. We're going to catch the Royals D-backs.
Salt River Fields.
Salt River Fields.
I
It's a
was just-
good facility.
It's a beautiful facility.
Centrally located, and hoping to catch maybe some Bobby Witt and maybe even some Jack Caglione, you know, see if he's in the lineup that day. So, yeah. And Paige is going to bring her scorebook. She's going to keep score. I mean, name something better. There's no pressure either. I will want to show up on time, but there's no pressure to stay.
Beautiful.
Because we're going to Innings Fest afterwards. So we're going to catch some concerts after that. So it's like, just roll on out, head to the show. It's going to be a good day.
You mentioned keeping book. This is a great segue for just a little plug here for, I believe we've already, right? Haven't we already said what we're doing with the keeping book?
Sunday night streams? Yeah, I think that's going to be.
Yeah. Just a little
plug
here.
We're doing, well, maybe not even Sunday night. I think it's a Sunday stream, right? I think that's the.
I think that's the move. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just go into detail a little bit more about like what the vision is for that, just so people know.
It's gonna live stream, baby. Live stream, hang out. I'm gonna teach you guys how to keep book. So simple enough. More importantly, I'm gonna teach you how to keep book.
That's one of my resolutions for this year.
That's
Learning
right.
to keep book. All right. Let's talk about what we came here to talk about. Right off the top here, we're talking ABS system, the automatic balls and strikes system that has made its way to spring training games. Speaking of another thing that you're not going to get everywhere all the time, the ABS system is not going to be incorporated into every spring training game this year. But a vast amount. I think 60% is what I saw of the spring training games this year.
Yeah,
will
16 parks, I believe.
Yeah, will feature the system. And if you don't know what the ABS system is, as I mentioned, the automatic ball strike system, Rob Manfred has made it clear that he would like to have this system in place in an ideal world in 2026. What are your thoughts about it? Because I know you feel very strongly about the product that is the catcher and the art that is, and the art seemingly that has sort of taken a little bit of a decline with the shifts in, rule systems, with strike systems, with the impending future of robo umps and the like. What are your thoughts on the system?
Where to begin? So if you've been listening for a while, you know that Nate likes to think of the ripple effects, the cause and effect of a rule change. Not just the rule change itself, but what occurs after that. If you are just now starting to listen to us, enjoy me popping the hood on what I call this noggin. Let's start with catchers. For one, I was always scared of the automated strike zone taking away the art of framing, which we, as stats and analytics have become more and more of a thing, I think we've started to realize that like framing can be such a useful and beneficial tool. And there's only so many catchers that are really good at it. And it's starting to get to that point where it's kind of obvious when you're watching games. So I won't go too far into that. But I do think if you go full ABS, it takes away the art of framing, right? It changes the way a catcher potentially approaches somebody on base, somebody that's a threat to steal a base, right? Like if there's no point in framing, I can kind of position my body however I want to make sure I can get rid of this ball as quick as possible. And that's not the catching or baseball that we've seen. So in turn, what this challenge system does, I think the challenge system, that's right, Pudge, framing is an art. What the challenge system does is it almost allows both to happen. For those who are so set on getting a correct answer, getting the correct result, you have that. I think it also allows a catcher to potentially play with a hitter. Now you're no longer just trying to fool an umpire. Maybe you're trying to fool a hitter. Because for those unfamiliar, this challenge is only allowed to be taken by the hitter, catcher, and pitcher. There's no time for review. There's no manager. There's no dugout in play. There's no delay. It is immediate. And I think who knows the zone better than those three guys in any given opportunity? So when you're talking about the art of framing specifically, maybe it makes a hitter think twice. I want to challenge it, but he made it look pretty good. I think I know this zone. I think I know my zone, but I don't know. I think it does deliver some strategy. We've seen strategy be affected with the review and challenge system there. Now we can see that like a team only gets 2. If they get the first, same thing. If they get the first one right, they keep the second. And you're back to 2. So like overall, you could have 3 if you're correct. I think it creates some strategy of like each team. Like when do you use that? What hitters are you going to allow that to be? Who are you going to trust? Are you, as a manager, going to tell that guy while he's in the on deck circle, say, hey, no challenging this inning, no matter what? Is it when bases are loaded and it's a clutch situation and a guy punches out looking and it's like, if you want to pull it, go ahead and pull the trigger. And he challenges it and maybe it's a ball and he gets another opportunity. Like there's so many things that can change this. What's developing more is the size of the strike zone with this. The strike zone is subjective to the size of the hitter now.
Well, before we get into that, you made the point about like which players are managers going to trust. And Terry Francona, actually, I think it was today, came out and said that he's not even going to bother encouraging his vets to work on this system. He said the guys that the younger guys who came up with this,
and this has been tested in the lower levels for a while.
At the lower levels, the guys that came up with that, he said, go for it. It's what you're accustomed to at this point. Yeah. And maybe you have a better eye for certain things based on the success or failures of the system thus far. Yeah. Who knows? But Terry Francona, a guy that's been around the league a long time, is coming out and saying like, it's not even worth it for the guys who aren't used to this to spend their time 100%. Here in spring training working on this, because they're going to see what they're going to see. And it'll be interesting, like you said, to see the strategy that comes into play here. Yeah.
Cause I feel like some teams are going to be like, we're not going to use it before the 6th or 7th. Like we're going to save it. We're going to keep it for later. And it's not so much of like the strategy of the challenge for the overall replay, because like, you don't know if that opportunity is going to come back. Chances are there's going to be a borderline ball or strike opportunity late in the game. So like that's going to be interesting. I think it's like we started to talk about. Like I think it's interesting that now we're having like a defined strike zone, which is, I mean, not to hit you with some math on Monday, but it's kind of interesting. So the ABS strike zone for this Hawkeye challenge system, the plate's 17 inches wide. That's the width of our strike zone. Okay. The depth, which I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it used to be starting at the front of the plate. That was the start of the strike zone. No mas. The start of the strike zone is halfway in between the front and back. It's 8.5 inches in to the plate. That's when the beginning of the strike zone will start. Now, top and bottom is where it gets weird. So if you're still with me, congrats, but it's going to get harder. 53.5% of the player's height is the top of the zone. 27% of the player's height is the bottom of the zone. So the example everyone's talking about, just because it's polar opposites and it's easy to throw these names on it, it's Jose Altuve and Aaron Judge, right? We are now going to see a very big difference in the height of that. Let's talk ripple effect about that. Stances. What are the stances? If you're really tall, are you going to get low and spread out? That's not going to, it doesn't change based off your stance. It's your height. They measure you. All these guys are getting measured.
They're getting, that's the interesting thing is they're getting this data during spring training, which is interesting.
We're going to get the actual height of people now.
It's that too. I hadn't even thought about that. Wow,
it's a ripple effect, man. I told you.
We're unlocking a whole new wealth of information.
That's right.
No, but like you mentioned the stances, my immediate thought goes to a guy like Cal Ripken. Guy had like in a given season could give you a dozen different stances, all of varying heights, varying depths, varying, open, close, whatever. How is that going to work?
I know. So
I don't know.
You have I thought of Jeff Bagwell, just because like Jeff, I don't remember how tall Jeff Bagwell was. I would guess 5'11", 6 foot, somewhere in that range, but he was really low and really spread out. The strike zone is not affected by that. It's affected by these guys' measurements, which they are measured flat-footed, by the way. I wanted to look that up. If there was measurements based on cleats on or off, they are off. So
somebody really did a deep dive here.
I told you, man. And Alex Bregman being listed as 6 foot is now officially going to be exposed, which I'm thoroughly happy about.
No, not reality.
So if we're just talking ripple effect, like there's a lot that's going to be affected by this. There's a lot that's going to go into this. You want to talk about viewership, broadcasting, how we, the fan, are taking this in. Think about the camera angles. A little different at each field, right? Sometimes it's a little more square and like a little more centered and high above the pitcher. Sometimes it's lower and off to the side, depending on what ballpark you're at. So that's going to change the way we're looking at it a little bit. The article I read, shout out, what's his name? Anthony Castrovintz, MLB.com. Talked about the broadcasting, like, okay, like we don't want to have any type of cheating or anything like that. So like, what about the broadcast, like utilizing that as some type of help? We don't want to have a resurgence of like an Astros bang on it trash can to like help signal the hitter, right? So what they're talking about on the broadcasts is a couple things. Keep the strike zone on broadcasts, which is what we're seeing on majority of broadcasts now, except no longer showing the circle of where the ball or strike was, eliminating that. Then they're talking about, instead of the full strike zone, just the corners. So there's a lot that comes into this. Like, it's not just, oh, we have a challenge system. Like we're now officially talking about pitchers looking at a strike zone height differently based on the height of a hitter. We're now talking about how much a player can be trusted. Does a pitcher want to have that responsibility? Does a catcher want to have that responsibility? Does that change depending on the day? Who do you rely on more, right? What hitters are allowed to do this? Because a lot of hitters are going to, like, how many guys do we see slide into second and be like, no, like I was safe, and they were very out? Like, how much can you trust the instinct of players? And I think that's the aspect that I like most about it. You don't have review time. You don't have a manager waiting for his bench coach to call somebody. You don't have an umpire or somebody delaying the call. Like, it's just going to happen naturally. So as much as it is an automated strike zone, there's also like a player error in like a removing it from the umpire's hands kind of aspect to it. It's very interesting. I like it. Like I do like it. I like majority of what's going on here. It adds a new twist without necessarily changing the game. In fact, I think it involves aspects of the game that we love.
Well, you say you like it.
Let me get my wine. I'm feeling frisky tonight.
He's feeling a little frisky. Somebody that's got some questions about it, Adam Wainwright. I happened to scroll across a video that he had shared today, and I stopped and watched it because it was talking about this very matter. And so I thought, well, let me get a seasoned veteran's perspective on what this potentially means and how this could impact the game. So let me see if I can get this up here.
What's up, y'all? It's Adam Wainwright. Hey, this is a message for all the MLB Network employees, podcasters, coaches, players, Fox guys, anyone who's going to talk pitching, who's talking baseball. Can we create this debate, at least discussion, at least something? I see every catcher in the world right now down on a knee, which I totally get. I see him really working on the snatch, which, hey, love getting the bottom strike. Love it. My question, though, is can we talk about it from a pitcher's perspective really quick? Because the target is gone. You know, I see so many catchers put the target on the ground, put the mitt on the clay when the pitcher's about to release the ball. Now, if you don't think that's a big deal, I want you to go play darts. And right as you're about to release the dart, the dartboard drops a whole foot. And then as you release the dart, when your target is a foot lower, you're still aiming at where you think was the triple 20, and then dartboard just slides back up and you're supposed to hit the triple 20. Now, it's not exactly the same, but it is kind of the same. So if you want pitchers to go back to great command, if you want pitchers to aim small, miss small, can we please give them something small to aim at? I don't see anyone talking about this. Maybe they are, but I just don't see it. The discussion needs to be had. The discussion needs to be at least debated. I talk to a lot of pitchers, and they're trying to hone their craft and work on throwing to something small, but the target's on the ground. And so I just don't know how that correlates. Let's talk about it.
So the point of what he's saying, and he included it in the tweet that accompanied this video, is he said the best part of the automated strike zone is that a pitcher might regain a target. So there's a lot at play here. I think it's going to have it, like you said, the ripple effect is going to certainly play out. And I think having somebody who's pitched for as long as Adam Wainwright has knows, what this evolution is going to mean, like what this shift in the art of pitching, the art of catching is going to mean. Yeah. And I have to say, I think I'm with you. I mean, You mentioned that part about the possibly removing the circle off of each pitch on the
I
screen.
knew that would hook you in,
dude. I'm all about that because I cannot stand when the ball, like the circle, is just nicks the K zone, and people are like, "What are we talking about?" It's like, okay, go to a game, get off, like step away from your screen, go to a game, watch it in real time, real speed, 100% speed, and you tell me if you would be able to do the job of an umpire, if you'd be able to do the job of a major league hitter, sorting through in fractions of a second what's a ball, what's a strike.
100%.
So if this in any way, shape, or form can eliminate that population of people from chiming in on every single pitch, every single call, when they don't really know what it is until they show the ball coming through, clipping the zone.
Yeah.
Fine by me. Fine by me.
But I think that's what like another effect to this is that it feels like it's a little more of like a 2-dimensional strike zone versus a depth thing that it was. And, to like open up, we don't have to go too far into this, but like to open up another direction of a ripple effect, think about what this may start doing to pitches, as in what repertoire would make sense for guys to develop with this, right? Can you start developing something that drops towards the bottom of the strike zone or starts above the strike zone and drops in? Does the curveball start to become more common again, right? Does pitch movement start to become as valued as pitch velocity, right? Those things I think start to come back into play now that I think I'm more excited about having a better defined strike zone than the challenge ABS system itself. I think I'm more excited about that. Even though it is a variable that is kind of hard to pay attention to because, again, it's going to be adjusted depending on the height of the hitter. So, overall, so far I'm for it. We haven't seen like a ton of it used in spring training. I know one that kind of comes to mind is like a very common one where you have the catcher that sets up outside and then the pitcher crossfires and he has to go across his body and he tries to stick something that you're like, dude, you're reaching across your body, but it's still in the zone.
Correct.
And so that was something that like, I think Alejandro Kirk had an opportunity the other day. So like those types of scenarios that we see so often come into play. So you and I are weird, man. You and I are weird of how we feel about changes to our game. And I'm oddly excited about how this can not just keep our game intact, but also maybe reintroduce things that have died in our game and bring it back to life.
Looking forward to seeing how it evolves. Let's talk the end of Major League Baseball and ESPN's contract. Can I say it?
Long enough.
Can I say it? You know what? I think you and I, assuming you and I are on the same page here, I think we're the majority of people that are actually pleased with this decision.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I came across a tweet actually that sort of touches on this and I think summarizes how I'm feeling about it. Matthew Owens PXP on Twitter said, "This is only a loss from the perspective of nostalgia, but ESPN hasn't treated baseball seriously in a long time. I remember a time when ESPN had Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday night games along with Baseball Tonight. Only one of those entities remain." That's the best way to put it. Is it's nostalgia for a lot of us who grew up with this. But if you remove that element of it, which I know for some people it may be harder to do, but like for somebody like me, I think I'm going to be able to compartmentalize that. Be like, you know what? It sucks that we're not going to have that after this season, but I can still look back. I mean, it's like with anything. You look back on your childhood. It's like, man, I wish I could relive that, but I'm also okay with the fond memories that I have from my childhood, keeping them in that box and embracing this new chapter. It's the same thing with ESPN. It's like, man, Joe Morgan and John Miller, you want to talk about an era.
Goodness.
But if
it doesn't get better than that.
I mean, that's top tier. But if everything is John Miller and Joe Morgan, then nothing is John Miller and Joe Morgan. You get what you get what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
you have to be able to differentiate, to be able to recognize what you had. And if it means ESPN going down the drain, their coverage of baseball just going down the drain, for us to truly appreciate like what we did have, then so be it. Because like the tweet said, and like many people are saying, and I very much agree with, ESPN just doesn't care about baseball. They do not care about baseball. So why would I mean, Carl Ravitch, Eduardo Perez, like I appreciate like your knowledge, your contributions to the game, but like anybody else that we're involving, really, how tapped in are they really? Like, they're tapped in for a game a week, and I'm not trying to diminish the work that they do outside. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of prep work that goes into it, but like I want something a little bit more in terms of the focus that I'm getting on the sport that I'm watching. Like, I want to know that the entity that's pushing this product that I'm currently watching, that I'm engaging with, I want to know that, one, they care about the sport, and two, I want to know that they're tapped in, and that this sport is more than just an opportunity for them to check a box or to add to their so-called like proverbial resume of things that we offer. Like, I want to know that what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing is for the betterment of the game and the betterment of our viewing experience.
Yeah. For me, my ESPN baseball memories died when MLB Tonight wasn't on regularly, right? Like when Web Gems went away, when you could actually watch SportsCenter and get highlights from each and every game on any given day of the week. Those days are long gone, man. Those, I mean, not to age myself, but like I think those are done when I was 12, 13 years old, and everything just started to shift and change. Like you said, man, like it's gotten obvious. ESPN continues to just fumble over and over again. They fire people that everyone loves. They budget cut. They only play NBA. They only play, like they can barely get rights to NFL stuff. Like, it's embarrassing that to call yourself, the heartbeat of sports, to centralize yourself as the number one, viewership for sports. And the second 1 p.m. Eastern hits on a Sunday afternoon during football season, you're showing bowling or NASCAR because you don't even have rights to get those games. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not throwing shade at those other sports, but when you're talking about what commands viewership and you can't even get it, right? So it just shows that like they've lost their fastball and they've lost
literally
and they've lost touch of what it is. And I don't know what the blame is. I don't know if it's, cable no longer being a thing, and now we have to have 15 different subscriptions to stream, different things that we want to watch. Overall, sayonara, good luck. I'm excited to see what changes. I don't know if maybe our our what's the word? Our culture has now shifted to a different night that would be better for a night game viewership. Do we see another? It's likely going to be streamed on something.
Sure.
But you know, does Peacock or Hulu or please, we can't have Apple TV being the only option for Friday nights, but like maybe another night that picks up a game.
Yeah, I mean, right. If it does, so be it. But like, I think a lot of people are fine with Sunday Night Baseball. It's like sort of a nice way to end the weekend. Most people are home by that point.
I'm good with it.
From whatever they're doing that weekend.
If it changes, you know?
No, for sure. But you mentioned the Apple TV. Like from a production standpoint, I love what Apple TV does.
It's
like
just the broadcasting.
It's like I'm gonna need to, going back to the point I made about having people that are tapped in, that know what they're talking about, and you're not just like sort of handpicking like personalities that you think would mesh well. Like, no, give me the people that like know what they're talking about, that give me entertaining broadcast for sure, but like also give me like educate me a little bit. Like
it genuinely feels like they just pick people off of the Bleacher Report streams.
Yeah, right.
That's it. You know? So that's my only issue with it. I like you said, and maybe stop showing like the possibilities percentages down.
I hate corner. That. I mean, come on.
8% chance of hitting a home run. I'd stop. Get rid of that.
I don't think those are actually real. I think they just throw up a random number on there, if I'm being quite honest with you. Speaking of
it, what a way to go out on ESPN Sunday night baseball for us streaming, teaching people how to keep book.
We'll document the swan song of Sunday night baseball pretty well. That's actually a good point in the chat. Maybe Netflix will get involved. Seems like that's a good point, because then they do something with what was it, WWE recently?
Didn't they just raise their prices? They did the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. That was like the first live event.
No, but even more so recently, they did something. I don't know wrestling all that well, but it was something WrestleMania or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Trying to drum up a new segue since I cut you off, huh?
Yeah, you really cut me off, man. You said something about it being bad, and I was going to say, well, speaking of bad, let's talk about the Yankees.
See, it wasn't even a good segue. I did it twice.
Whatever.
It's the wine.
The Yankees. I was going to talk. Get some thoughts of yours on what's going on in New York right now. Because originally my plan was, hey, let's just talk about this facial hair rule thing. Yeah. I mean, I know the news has been out for a couple of days, but we have yet to get around to getting your thoughts on it. But just from the clouds, they announced yesterday, or late last night, I think, that they're finally doing away with the New York after losses. So we've got like a couple things to talk about. And I did have a note here to mention. We can get into it if we have time. We've talked Vladdy Jr. a good deal recently, but he even mentioned that he's open to all 30 teams, and that includes the Yankees, and that's sort of what caught the headline writers' eyes, I guess, or ears. But let's start with the facial hair rule. Go ahead, let's hear it, because I know, frankly, I don't know where you, now that the announcement has been made, I don't know where you fall on it, but I do know that wherever you're going to fall on it, you're going to feel pretty strongly about it. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
I feel weird. I'm a little shocked. Like I don't know what to think. I don't know how to act. It's crazy to me that Devin Williams, being a rental reliever, is the one that potentially broke the camel's back here, but
a rental reliever essentially.
Even though Hal Steinbrenner has apparently said that they've been looking into this for years and been researching and asking former players, and I know Brian Cashman had a little segment saying that like there was recent discussions, even this current / past off season, that they were talking about acquiring a guy, and he needed the agent needed to double check that the player was okay shaving or not. So whether that was an actual issue, whether guys are actually, like saying no to the opportunity of playing with the Yankees solely because of that, I don't know. I think I've been on the fence about it my entire life. There's aspects of the uniqueness to it that made it kind of fun and interesting anytime they acquired a guy, especially mid-season, where it was like, it's like you can't, it was like he's really a Yankee when you first see him shaved. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of thing that allowed it to be real. And so like there's parts of me and the fandom in me that are going to miss that aspect to it. But at the same time, on the other side of it, like I haven't been clean shaven and I don't know how long. So it's like, I can respect and understand why guys would not want to do it. So I'm interested to see how well maintained and well groomed these beards need to be and who's enforcing that. These teams already have a barber for pretty much every home game. So I'm sure it's no thing to just incorporate some type of grooming for facial hair.
Dude, I think on that note, I think if I played at the big league level, that would be one of the best. I mean, sure, you've got money. You've got money to do literally whatever you want, but like to have
fresh
a barber
fades every day
on call. Like I am like 2 weeks after I get a haircut. I mean, I usually go like 3 to 4 weeks because I mean, getting a haircut as a guy, it can be
$50
expensive
now. Yeah,
it's crazy. So I try to stretch it, but I'm like itching after 2 weeks to hit up the barber again. So the fact that they could just do it whenever they want is insane.
It's crazy. Like for example, I think you grow obviously a better beard than I do. I think your current beard, if you cleaned up the neck and it was a fresh neck with what you have at the moment, I think that is passing. I think it's allowed. I think it's the length, the scraggliness that will probably get flagged in a way. By who? I don't know. But
dude, did you see Dylan Cease's beard? What?
I don't think it looks good. I don't like it.
I don't know what is going on there.
Like, he looks like when Forrest Gump is running across the country. Like it just doesn't.
What? I mean, some effort has to be made here.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, Cease.
Not a fan personally. Yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see. I think Judge already came out and said like I think I'm going to keep it, and again, like I like the aspect of that. I like the aspect of maybe there is a guy or a couple guys that want to keep that tradition, and I also like the aspect of seeing Devin Williams look like a normal human being. So I've been on the fence. I texted you the second I saw the notification the other morning, and I was like, catching an early dub. I think this is a dub. I think this is a win chalked up for the Yanks. And I know there's probably plenty of people that are like, it's about time. This is ridiculous. I know there's been plenty of people arguing against it, and I totally understand the argument against it. It's not a hill that I've been willing to die on necessarily. I think I just liked the aspect that it was like a special thing to the Yanks.
Yeah, I mean, that's about as far as I can take it. Like, okay, this sort of separated you from the rest of the league. And you know,
not like an elitist way, just no. It's just like its own thing. You know?
I get it. Well, I mean, in a way, you could view it as like an elitist thing because I mean, they did win multiple World Series while this rule was enacted. But the thing, which brings me to my next point, the thing that I do not understand is all these people now. What are we at now, Nate? 16 years. It's been 16 years since 2009, and you have people that are saying, this makes us different. This is the Yankee way. Okay, then tell me, what is the Yankee way? Because it's certainly not winning. It's certainly not winning. And to act like this year, or this rule rather, has existed for a century plus. 1976.
Yeah.
1976 is when this rule was enacted. So spare me the whole like the Yankee way thing.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, it hasn't been that long. And for you, if it's
we were
more
terrible in the 80s and early 90s too,
if it's more of a recency thing, tell me what it is about the recent run of Yankee seasons that makes it so special, because it hasn't involved winning.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not going to associate those types of things with it. I think it's more so just like there were silly aspects to it, and there were aspects of it that like made it the Yankees. And I think every Yankees fan, or any fan of any team for that matter, has things that they're attached to with that team outside of just winning. And this was one of those things where people aren't going to like this. I don't think anyone else should wear pinstripes. I think pinstripes should be specific to the Yankees. Now, you see other teams wearing it with just pants, or you see other teams wearing it like with uniforms, and like you can hate on me all you want, but like that's the way I view the pinstripes.
Well, the Yankees posted a picture. I don't know if you saw it. They posted a picture of Cody Bellinger from like Media Day or whatever, and they said first time wearing the pinstripes, and all these Cubs fans chimed in the replies going, "It's like, oh no, first time. What are we talking about here?"
Yeah. Like I don't care. None of that matters. I just want a freaking trophy in New York again. But like, I like what it brings into the table. And when you bring up the 70s, like I think style recycles. We know that it recycles. Everyone's dressing like the 90s now, and everyone's wearing baggy stuff like the 90s and early 2000s again. So don't tell me it doesn't recycle. But the 70s were known for, okay, everyone went from comb over, clean shaven in the 60s to beards and long hair. And obviously our culture is very accepting of beards. So it's just funny to see that like that decision was made during that culture that seems to run pretty similarly to the culture now. So I like it. Now, as far as the changing New York, Frank, this was a must. This had to happen.
Thank you. My goodness.
Nothing pissed me off more. Nothing put the nail in the coffin more than when the Dodgers won in Yankee Stadium and that song was playing in the background. And in fact, I have not been able to listen to that song since because of that moment. I'm not kidding. I'm weird. When I go shuffle on my Spotify, I do the whole playlist, baby. I don't do, sometimes I do playlists, but I do the whole all liked songs and hit shuffle. And every once in a while it comes up, and I have skipped it every single time because of that moment. Now,
I mean, what a stupid system. Like
the reason it's a dub is because they changed it to That's Life, and they're keeping it Frank Sinatra. Bang.
I think that's what they use as spring training, but I think they said that they're going to rotate some songs through, but like That's Life. I'm talking about just a move that makes sense. Like nothing to me is more comical than a random Thursday night in July. The Yankees get their brains absolutely beat in like 15-2. And then the final out's made in the bottom of the ninth. It's up to you.
And it's like immediately pressed to. For anybody that hasn't been to Yankees,
that's what I'm saying.
The second that last out is made, it is playing.
My God, what a like that's just one of those decisions. Whoever made the decision to make that wins and losses, it's like, did you utilize any part of your brain in that process? Because I think not.
I have two bad memories, and one was watching on TV, Dodgers winning in Yankee Stadium, and then the first time I ever met Jared Carrabis. I didn't meet him. It was when
2018 ALDS,
when the Yankees the Red Sox beat the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, and I was walking out and I saw Jared Carrabis, and I said, "You guys are going to get your teeth kicked in by the Astros." And he goes, "We'll see." So that's playing in the background as I'm walking through. So those are my two memories, and the song,
what ended up happening,
unfortunately, has more negative than positive.
Just going back to that 2018 thing real quick. What happened? What ended up happening?
I don't really remember how many games they won it in, but the Astros did not show up. That was when Dallas Keuchel I thought was like otherworldly for what he did to the Yankees.
Crazy.
Anywho's.
Any thought? We don't have to go too much into depth on it, but with this Vladdy Jr. situation, I feel like we covered this last episode.
Yeah, I've said this for a
once
while.
the deadline passed, we did bring up the Yankees, but he sort of reiterated in the recent days that if Yankees are fair game, I'm open to hearing from all 30 teams.
Yeah. Number one, he's not going to hear from all 30 teams because not all 30 teams can afford him. Number two, you're dumb to not have the Yankees involved because they used to drive the price up a lot more. Not so much anymore. But they still are an impact team that can scare other teams to pay more. So, and I said it last week, I'll say it again. I think Vlad knows that the Yankees are not an option. I don't think the Yankees know that. I think the Yankees are delusional and think that they have an actual shot. That's somebody who hates the Yankees, and his dad hated the Yankees. So, like, it's not going to happen. But you got to keep him in the hunt to drive the price tag up. So I understand it. I respect it.
All right. We're at a fork in the road here. We're pushing an hour when I was hoping to.
I know. We went deep into some stuff, didn't we?
We went deep into the ABS system. We have
a quote.
We have a quote.
Do you want to decide after the quote?
Let's decide after the quote. Should I hit it?
You hit it.
Whose quote was this? Whose quote was this? Who said it?
All right. Yep. We'll go with the abbreviated version today.
Who said it? My fault for not bringing this up earlier because it definitely tied into the rule thing. So I totally forgot. But what do you want first, quote or details? You need to lose access.
What?
You need to lose access to that, I think.
It's my soundboard, my friend.
I think you need to update some stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Anytime I get to use mine, I'm happy. What do you want first, details or quote?
Give me the details first this time. Let's mix it up.
Episode 52, March 18th, 2019. Ready?
Let's hear it.
You look at instant replay. People were like freaking out, losing their minds. And it's like, if they get the call right, what's the big deal? That's what we want when it's all said and done.
This is a good one. You picked a good one here because I know for me, I've had instances where yes, thank you, Laura, in the chat. Hit the like button. Appreciate you all. I've had instances where people have freaked out about something.
Sure.
And I've had to be like, oh, let's pump the brakes here. And to be fair, full transparency, I've been that person that jumps to conclusions and it's like flipping tables and then somebody else has to calm me down.
Sure. Me.
Sure. Yeah, on more than one occasion, certainly. Yeah. And have changed my opinions on various things. So to that, I give you credit. Let's hear that quote one more time.
Sure. Let me run it back. You look at instant replay. People were like freaking out, losing their minds. And it's like, if they get the call right, what's the big deal? That's what we want when it's all said and done.
I feel like my gut, I'm going to go with my gut. My gut says me.
Yeah. Sucker. That was me.
Shoot. That might be the first one I've gotten wrong.
I needed to stump you. That one felt right. That one felt good. I'm proud of it.
That was good. You said right. I'm going to go with a little shorter quote, and it worked out for you. Well
That's
done.
Right.
Well done.
It's decision time, guy.
I mean, we're pushing an hour.
It's your call, not mine.
I don't want to make the call.
You got to make the call.
Why do I got to make the call?
You got to make the call.
I mean, I know the people love the drafts, but I mean, do they want to sit around for another however long to listen to a draft, or should we save it for Thursday? I say we save it for Thursday.
All right, that's work. That's fine. I got to eat dinner anyway. Sure,
I
you
do.
too.
I do too. It's 9 o'clock out here. That's not a normal time to eat dinner.
Tough. What are you gonna eat?
We got leftover Costco pizza.
I don't hate that.
Throw a salad on there.
You have to. We're over 30.
Balance it out a little bit.
That's how it has to work now.
Make yourself feel better. All right. Yeah, we'll save the drafts for Thursday. We do this.
It's my fault. It's my fault. I'll own this one. I'll wear it.
No. It's all good. You gave us the deep dive into the ABS system. I'm all about it. But yeah, because we did a Monday recording this week, we'll be recording more than unless something crazy happens, more than likely Thursday night. So be sure to join us then. Any other thing you got for the folks?
Send us some pics, man. I want to see the story filled up with some ballpark visits. Anybody that's making it out to spring training. I love the people that make a trip. Like shout out to you. Kudos to you that are making the trip from out of state to go watch some spring training, take in some sunshine, sitting in the grass in center field. I like all that stuff. So yeah, I want to see more pictures of that. That's my thought. That's my thought of the day.
I love it.
Other than that, read the hat, baby. And check out the shop. Don't go chasing curveballs.
Love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.